Welcome back, students. Today again I am here with a new lesson for you, a very useful lesson, and it is splitting of sentences. It is also called disjoining of sentences, as it is just the opposite of joining of sentences. So those who have learnt joining of sentences well can easily do the work of splitting of sentences or disjoining of sentences well. Now see how the splitting of a sentence is done with the help of your knowledge of the joining of sentences. From a long sentence, small sentences can be formed for each of the grammatical elements you have learnt, but maintain the tense of the verbs and the sense of the sentence. Okay. Now, disjoining of sentences or splitting of sentences. Splitting of sentences. Okay, splitting of sentences. So I just said that from a long sentence, small sentences can be framed or formed for each of the grammatical elements you have learnt. Okay, so you have learnt a participle, Okay, so in a sentence, given sentence, if you get a participle, you can form a separate sentence for that participle. Okay, so what I said, in a given sentence, if you get a participle in a given sentence, you can make a sentence with that participle out of the long sentence. Okay, now take an example and your idea will be cleared. See, example, coming here, comma, he was surprised. Okay, now check the sentence. See, coming here, you have learnt that coming here is a participle, so cut the sentence here. You will get he was surprised, one sentence. Okay, and for this you have to make another sentence. Now write the sentence first. Number one, he was surprised. He was surprised. Now come to this point, coming here, and subject he, so take he as the subject of the first sentence. Okay, so he, and coming will become come. This verb, the main verb, is in the past tense, so come will become came. Okay, so he came here, so he was surprised, he came here. You may write the second sentence first this way, that he came here, he was surprised. Okay, so from the given sentence you got two small sentences, so your given sentence is split up into two small sentences. Number one, he came here. Number two, he was surprised. Okay, now take another example, then your idea will be clear. Now B, they saw a glittering star. They saw a glittering star. glittering is a participle, and this participle is working here as an adjective of the noun star, okay. So for this participle we'll make one separate sentence, and glittering is the present participle, and for this we'll get an active voice, a sentence with an active voice of the verb. Now see, break the sentence. They saw a glittering star. First write, they saw, number 1, they saw a star. Okay, now the glittering. The star saw is the past tense, so the star was glittering. Okay, the star was glittering. The star was glittering is an active voice because glittering is the present participle. So your given sentence, they saw a glittering star, is split up into two separate sentences, and they are, they saw a star, the star was glittering. Okay, now see, take another example. They repaired the broken chair. Okay, here broken is the participle. No, it is past participle. So past participle, for the past participle we'll make a sentence of the passive voice, you have learned. Okay, with this part, they repaired the chair. Number 1, they repaired the chair. Okay, now what is left? Now broken is left. With broken we'll make another sentence, and remember the sentence will be in the passive voice. See, I told you before. And the chair was broken. Number 2, the chair repaired, for this was, the chair was broken. The chair was broken is the passive voice. Okay, as the participle is the past participle. For the present participle it will be the active voice, the sentence will be an active voice, and for the past participle the sentence will be a passive voice. Remember this. Okay, so in the given sentence, if you get a participle, for that participle you can make separate sentence as I did here. Okay, now if you get in the sentence, if you get number 2, if you get a noun in apposition, you know the term. If you get a noun in apposition in a sentence, for that noun in apposition you can make a separate sentence. Okay, now take an example, then it will be clear to you. Number 1, Madhusudan, comma, a famous poet of Bengal, comma, was a genius. You know which one is the noun in apposition here? You say, which one is the noun in apposition? This one, right? Noun in apposition. So separate it first, keep it away. A famous poet of Bengal, keep it away. and the rest part, Madhusudan was a genius. Okay, write down this part first and see what happens. Number 1, Madhusudan was a genius. Okay, now a famous poet of Bengal, noun in apposition, is there waiting. With this we will make a sentence, and look at the verb. The verb is was, so it will be also a past tense. So he was a famous poet of Bengal. He was a famous poet of Bengal. Okay, so for the noun in apposition we can make another sentence, and for this noun in apposition this sentence is made. He was a famous poet of Bengal. Was and he we have taken because the subject of both the sentences are the same and the tense must be the same. Here it is past tense, for this it is past tense. So Madhusudan was a genius and he was a famous poet of Bengal. Okay, so for the noun in apposition you can make a separate sentence from the given sentence, and you will split up the given sentence easily. Okay, now if you get in a sentence, if you get nominative absolute, a nominative absolute or an absolute phrase, you know, a nominative absolute or an absolute phrase, if you get, for that you can make a separate sentence. Okay, take an example. The sun having set. The sun having set, comma, they came out. They came out. You know, the sun having set, this is an absolute phrase, you know, and the sun, this is called nominative absolute, and they came. Okay, so they came, as it is, make a sentence with this. B, they came out, one sentence, and this one, the sun, you know, I told you that when you don't get be verb in a sentence, use having plus past participle of the verb. So remove having here and use the past tense of this verb as it is past tense. Okay, so thus the sun set. So the two sentences are the sun set and they came out. The sun having said, this is an absolute phrase, and for this absolute phrase we have made one separate sentence here, and that is the sun set, and this part is a separate sentence. Automatically it is separate. They came out. So from your given sentence, the sun having set, they came out, you can get the sun set, they came out, these two sentences. Okay, very easy. If you learn that joining of sentences with all its rules and regulation well, you will have no problem in splitting up a sentence. Next, in the given sentence, if you get an infinitive, you can make a separate sentence for that infinitive, you know, right? An infinitive. So if you get an infinitive in a given sentence, for that infinitive you can make a separate sentence. Okay, for that infinitive you can make a separate sentence. Now take one example. See, he came here to see me. He came here to see me. Now say, which one is the infinitive? This one is the infinitive. Okay, so to see me, this is the purpose, you know. So he came here, cut this part and write first. He came here. Okay, stop. Why? He wanted to see me. He wanted to see me. You may write this way, he wanted to see me, or it was to see me. This is all. You may write this way, you may make another sentence this way or this way. Okay, so he came here to see me, cut to see me separately and make one sentence for this part, he came here, and another sentence for the infinitive to see me. Okay, your given sentence is now split up into two sentences. Number one, he came here, and number two, he wanted to see me, or it was to see me. Okay, take another example. He has a house to sell. You know it very well, to sell. Okay, so he has a house, and to sell is an infinitive. For this will make a separate sentence. Okay, now see the answer. He has a house. He has a house. Okay, and for this part you say what type of sentence you will make. He, you know. Number two, he wants or wishes to sell it. Okay, so to sell is an infinitive, and for this infinitive, this sentence he wants to sell it is made, and from this given sentence we have got two sentences. Number one, he has a house, and number two, he wants to sell it. This sentence is from this part. Okay, now take another example. Number C. The load is too heavy for him to carry. For him to carry. Okay, now see, for him to carry. To carry is the infinitive part, you know, and for him, you know, this part is this is the place for the subject of the second sentence you have learned. So the load is too heavy. When it is broken, you know, too will become very, and one knot is there into the knot will go to the second sentence. Let us split. Number one, the load is very heavy. Okay, and for him will become he cannot carry, he cannot carry it. Okay, so from this sentence, the load is too heavy for him to carry, you know, This was the example at the time of the joining of sentences you have seen. So the load is very heavy, and another one is, the second part is, he cannot carry it. We got two sentences. One is the load is very heavy, another one is he cannot carry it, from this single sentence. Okay, now we'll take another example. See now, D. He is too strong to submit. You know it very well. To submit is the infinitive, and these two will become very when you cut here. So right here, number one, he is very strong, right? Okay, he is very strong, and one knot is here. It will come here. Okay, knot will come here, and it will be added to the second part. To submit. For to submit is an infinitive, we will make another sentence. The subject is he, and here the tense is, so he cannot. Not is attached, he cannot submit. He cannot submit. Two sentences. Okay. So from this given sentence, he is too strong to submit. First we have separated this part, he is too strong, and too has been changed into very, so he is very strong. Stop. And for this infinitive part, this sentence is made, he cannot submit. Okay, we'll take another example. E. Okay, I expect you to finish the work. I expect you to finish the work. You can recognize the sentence, you can understand that we have used this sentence at the time of joining. I expect you to finish the work. You to finish the work. Okay, so for this part we will make one sentence like this. Number one, you use one will. You will finish. You will finish the work. If you don't write this, it is also correct. You finish the work. Okay. And number two, what is that? I expect you, you know, I expect you to do so. You can recognize it. I expect you to do so. Okay, to do so. So you have got two sentences. Number one, you will finish the work. Number two, I expect you to do so. When you were joining, I repeatedly requested you to remember this verb, expect, special verb I told you. So you got it here, and if you remember that, if you learned that, so it will be easy for you to break the given sentence this way. Okay. Now we will take another example. F. He was sorry to say that. To say that, infinitive part. So he was sorry. We'll break here. To say that. That means subject will be he. Number one, use he. This is the verb, and this is the tense, past tense. He said that. He said that. So one sentence is made for this infinitive part, and that is he said that. Okay. Now number 2, he was, next part, this part, he was sorry. If you write he was sorry, it is enough. Okay. But if you write he was sorry for that, it is also correct. He was sorry for it. Okay, he said that, one sentence, and another sentence is, next sentence, he was sorry for it or for this or for that. Okay, so in this way you can split up a given sentence into 1, 2, 3 small sentences. Okay, now in a sentence, if you get an adverb or an adverbial phrase, an adverb or an adverbial phrase, okay, so for that adverb or for that adverbial phrase, you can make a separate sentence from the given sentence. Okay, see the example. He reached home. He reached home in the evening. He reached home in the evening. Okay, so in the evening is an adverbial phrase because it is indicating the time. So for this adverbial phrase, we will make one separate sentence. Okay, so we can break the sentence this way. Number 1, he reached home. He reached home. One sentence. Another sentence is for this part. Okay, so in the evening, that means it was evening, or in the evening. You may write, or you may write it was evening at the time. You may write this way, it was in the evening or it was evening at the time. So in the evening is an adverbial phrase, and for that adverbial phrase, if you like, if necessary, you can make a separate sentence. Okay, so for an adverb or adverbial phrase, you can make a separate sentence from the given sentence. Take another example. B. He did the work. He did the work proudly. He did the work proudly. Proudly is an adverb, adjective plus ly, adverb, proudly. Okay, so for this part, for this proudly adverb, we will make a separate sentence. So cut it here. He did the work. Write the answer. Number 1, he did the work. Okay, and number 2, for this proudly we will make another sentence. And number 2, he was proud. He was proud. Keep you up to this and get the sentence. He was proud. So he did the work, and number 2, he was proud. From this part, an adverb, we have made this sentence. So if you get an adverb or adverbial phrase in a given sentence, for that adverb or adverbial phrase, you can make separate sentence when you are asked to split up a given sentence. Okay, now if you get in a sentence a preposition with a noun or gerund, a phrase with a preposition and a noun like this. A preposition, you know all these terms, with a noun or a gerund. A preposition with a noun or a gerund. If you get this type of elements in a given sentence, so for that element you can make separate sentence. Okay, take one example and see, it will be clear. Number 1, he became famous. He became famous. How? By playing football. Okay, he became famous by playing football. See, by is the preposition, playing football. Playing is gerund because it is the ing form of the verb used after the preposition. So it is working here like a noun. For this it is called a gerund, you know. So the sentence is, he became famous by playing football. For this part you can make a separate sentence. So cut the sentence here first and make one sentence for this part. So here subject is he. Number 1, subject is he, and the tense is became. So play will be played. He played football. And one sentence, another sentence, he became famous. You may write this part, you may not write this part for this. Okay, so he became famous for this. You may write this, you may not write this for this part. Okay, so from the given sentence, he became famous by playing football, you got two sentences. Number 1, he played football, and number 2, he became famous. Okay, take another example. Example number 2. Another example. He was sorry. He was sorry for his poverty. You know this part, for is the preposition and poverty is the noun. Its adjective form is what? Its adjective form is poor. So cut the sentence here. So for his poverty, we will turn poverty into an adjective. So, and the subject is he. So the answer will be, he was, subject he, and this is the verb, past tense. So he was the adjective of poverty. He was poor. He was poor. One sentence. Another sentence, he was sorry for this. For this you may write, or simply you may cut here. You may not write this part. Okay, so from this sentence, he was sorry for his poverty. From this sentence we got two pieces of sentences. Number 1, he was poor, one piece, and number 2, he was sorry for this. Okay, now in a sentence, if you get a noun clause, for that noun clause you can make a separate sentence. Take one example and see that he is a genius. is known to all. That he is a genius is a noun clause, you know. So for this noun clause, we will make one separate sentence. See, number one, that he is a genius. That is a conjunction. So we won't use it. We will take this part. He is a genius. He is a genius. So this part is out. So this part is now blank, and in the blank space use one it, and you will get it is known to all. So from the given sentence that he is a genius is known to all, you have got two sentences, small sentences. Number one, he is a genius, and number two, it is known to all. Okay. Now take another example and see. I know that he is a genius. I know that he is a genius. Okay, that he is a genius, you know, is a noun clause, and for this we'll make a separate sentence. Okay, now see, that he is a genius, that is a conjunction. So when you separate it, the conjunction will be out, and we'll get he is a genius. Right, he is a genius, number one. And number two, see, that he is a genius, this place is now vacant, blank, and for this blank space use one it. I know it in the blank space. So he is a genius, and number two, I know it. And for this sentence we have got two small sentences. Number one, he is a genius, and number two, I know it. Okay, now we'll take another example. See, everything depends on what he says. You know, what he says is a noun clause. Okay, and for this noun clause we'll make one separate sentence. When you take this clause out, what will be it or something? So write it. He says, so what will be something? He says something. He says something. Okay, and everything depends on, this is a blank space, and in this blank space use one it. So number two, everything depends on it. This is used in the blank space. Okay, so for the sentence everything depends on what he says, we have got two sentences. Number one, he says something, and number two, everything depends on it. Okay, we'll take another example. D. Okay, the fact that he is a genius, that he is a genius is known to all. That he is a genius is a noun clause, and for this we will make a separate sentence. See, number one, he is a genius, that will be out because it is a conjunction. So he is a genius. Okay, Number 2, it is a fact. You can make one sentence for the noun, it is a fact. And number 3, you may write fact is out, so this space is blank, and for this blank space use it. So it is known to all. Okay, instead of writing these two sentences, you may write only one sentence, that is number 2, the fact or this fact is known to all. So from the given sentence, the fact that he is a genius is known to all, we can get 3 sentences. See, he is a genius, number 2, it is a fact, and number 3, it is known to all. In this way, or we may get 2 sentences like this. He is a genius, number 1, and number 2, this fact is known to all. Okay. Now, in a sentence, if you get an adjective clause or an adjective, an adjective clause or an adjective. So, if you get an adjective clause or an adjective, for that adjective or for that adjective clause, separate sentence can be framed. See the example. See, I like the boy who has done the work. I like the boy who has done the work. Okay, so who has done the work is an adjective clause, and for this adjective clause we will make a separate sentence. Who means a boy, the boy, he. So in place of who will write a boy. Okay, see the answer. Number 1, a boy. A boy has done the work. Number 1. And number 2, I like the boy. It is left. I like the boy. So for the adjective clause who has done the work, you have got the first sentence, a boy has done the work, and for the principal clause, the rest of the sentence, you have got the next sentence, I like the boy. The 2 sentences from the given sentence, I like the boy who has done the work. Take another example. B. We visited the village where the poet was born. You know, where the poet was born is an adjective clause. Okay, where the poet was born is an adjective clause. So break the sentence here. So in place of where, write here. Here. Okay, so you will get this part. We visited the village. Here the poet was born. So write the answer. We visited the place. In place of the, use a village. We visited a village. Here, number 2, here the poet here the poet was born. Okay, so here the poet was born. This is the sentence we got from the adjective clause where the poet was born. Okay, so from the given sentence, we visited the village where the poet was born. We have got two sentences. Number one, we visited a village. Remember this, the has become our village. And number two, here the poet was born. We'll take another example to clarify the matter. He was an intelligent boy. Here only an adjective, intelligent boy. So for that adjective we can make a separate sentence this way. Number one, he was a boy. And number two, the boy was intelligent. The boy was intelligent. So I told you, if you get an adjective in a sentence, for that adjective you can make a separate sentence like this. So from the given sentence, he was an intelligent boy, we have got two sentences. Number one, he was a boy, and number two, the boy was intelligent. Okay. Now in a sentence, if you get an adverb clause, for that adverb clause a separate sentence can be made. Okay, now see the example. If you go there, you will get it. You will get it. You know, if you go there is an adverb clause indicating a condition, and for this adverb clause a separate sentence can be made. See this way. Number one, if you go there, you will get it. So you will get it, and if you go there, that means you must go there, right? You must go there. This is the condition. And number two, in that case you will get it. You will get it. Okay, so from the sentence, if you go there, you will get it, we have got two sentences. We have got the first sentence from the adverb clause, if you go there, and the second sentence from the principal clause, you will get it. Okay, now take another example. See, as he is ill, as he is ill, comma, he won't do that. Okay, now see, as he is ill, this is an adverb clause expressing the cause, and for this we'll make a separate sentence. How? See, number one, as he is ill means he is ill. As will be out because it is a conjunction. We are breaking it, so no conjunction is necessary. He is ill. And number two, naturally he won't do that. He won't do that. Okay. So from the given sentence, as he is ill, he won't do that, we have got two sentences. The first one, he is ill, is from the adverb clause as he is ill, and the second one, he won't do that, is from the principal clause, he won't do that. Okay, now take another example. C. Though he is fat, though he is fat, comma, he can catch the rat. Though he is fat, comma, he can catch the rat. Oh, you know very well, though he is fat is an adverb clause, a concessional adverb clause, and for this we can make a separate sentence. So we'll cut this sentence here, original sentence here, then we'll write here number 1, though will be out, it is a conjunction, we'll write he is fat, and number 2, he can catch the rat, he can catch the rat. Okay, so from the sentence, though he is fat, he can catch the rat, we have got two sentences, small sentences. The first one, he is fat, from the adverb clause, though he is fat, and the second one, he can catch the rat, is from the principal clause, he can catch the rat. Okay, now we'll take another example. D. Okay, Ram is not so good as Sam. Okay, Ram is not so good as Sam. You know, Ram is not so good as Sam means as Sam is. As Sam is. Okay, so as Sam is an adverb clause, and for this clause we'll make a separate sentence. See, like this, Ram, like Sam is good. Number 2, Ram is not equally good. Sam is good, and number 2, Ram is not equally good. In these two sentences are put in the combined sentence, Ram is not so good as Sam. Okay, another example, that is E. They live there, when it is winter. When it is winter is an adverb clause. Okay, so for this adverb clause, make a separate sentence. See how. Number 1, they live there. They live there. Okay, and this one, when means then. It is winter then. It is winter then. Okay, it is winter then, or you may write it is in winter. Okay, so from the given sentence, they live there when it is winter, we have got two sentences. They live there, number 1, and another sentence from the adverb clause, when it is winter, It is winter then. Okay, now in a sentence, if you get a coordinate clause, coordinate clause, for that coordinate clause a separate sentence can be made. Okay, a coordinate clause. See the example. The book was written, the book was written by Tagore, who was a famous poet. Okay, who was a famous poet? Who was a famous poet? This is a continuative relative clause, is written after comma. So who was a famous poet is a coordinate clause. Who means and he. So break the sentence this way. Number one, the book was written by Tagore. The book was written by Tagore. And number two, he was a famous poet. Who will be he? He was a famous poet. Okay, we'll take another example. B. He was ill. He was ill. Therefore, he will not go there. He will not go there. Okay. Therefore, he will not go there is a coordinate clause. And this is another coordinate clause. So break the sentence. Breaking a compound sentence is easier. The first one, he was ill. He was ill. Number two, he will not go there. He will not go there. Okay. To break a compound sentence is easier, I said, because in a compound sentence, the small sentences, those are the coordinate clauses, are only joined, only coordinated. So take the coordinating conjunction out and the clauses will be separated into sentences like this. He was ill, therefore he will not go to school. From this compound sentence we have got two sentences. From the first coordinate clause, he was ill, we have got he was ill, and from the second coordinate clause we have got another sentence and it is he will not go there. Okay, this is how a long sentence can be split up into small sentences. Practice this carefully, regularly, you will have no problem. Okay students, up to this today. I'll soon come back with another lesson for you. So stay attached, stay tuned. Share this video with your friends and classmates for their benefit. And if you want the new lesson instantly, immediately, and regularly, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. Thank you for your patience and long participation. See you soon.